Hey guys, Jordan here from Tech Today, and I recently picked up the Google Nexus 5X, so welcome to my unboxing and first impressions. So I know that I said I was going to pick up the Nexus 6P, but when Google dropped the $80 off discount on Black Friday, I was all over it. Plus the 6P seemed a bit too big for me anyway. In the box, you'll find a nice Nexus branded card front and center, the phone of course, a charging cable, and power brick. Under the phone is where you'll find all your documentation, including your free 90-day Google Play Music subscription if you order the device in time. One of the first things that I noticed about the 5X was the relatively poor camera. The images are okay when it comes to sharpness, but not exactly when it comes to vibrant colors. That might just be me because I like saturated pictures, but nonetheless, it still seems to be lacking. Another area where the camera falls short is in low light situations. For example, I was trying to take a picture when it was dark out and the camera chose an extremely slow shutter speed which resulted in a blurry image, yet still with a substantial amount of noise. And the camera couldn't even focus well, but it's possible thus from the lack of light. Adding on to all those negatives is the poor software experience behind the camera. The app is just too bare bones for me. The app lacks all manual functionality, which is fine for most people, but it's still nice to have a little bit of control. Besides that, your limited options include the ability to switch the camera of course, HDR, flash, self-timer, and a few other gimmicky options for the artsy ones out there. When it comes to audio quality, Google definitely could have done a lot better. Although the speaker's front-facing, it's only stereo, which is definitely deceiving. Frankly, it seems to be lacking all bass and is way too treble-heavy. Compared to my old HTC One, there's no competition here. This is definitely an area for improvement next time around. At first, the 5X appears to have poor build quality, but that's not really the case. Once held in the hand, I really liked it. It has a nice smooth finish to it, which I personally really like. Now it has nowhere near the level of premium build the 6P has, but hey, at least it won't be cold when you pick it up in the morning. When it comes to the button layout on the 5X, in my eyes, it could be a bit better. The power button just seems a bit too high up for me, but then again, that might just be me saying that because I have small hands. Ideally, the power and volume buttons would be on opposite sides because they just feel a bit too close together for me. This has undoubtedly been my favorite aspect of the phone. It has failed maybe 2 to 3 times in total for me. I find it to be extremely efficient when unlocking the device, and the fact that you can unlock the phone when the screen is locked is just a bigger plus. I also find the placement on the back to be ideal for my hand at least, but I've heard otherwise from a few people. Throughout my testing of other fingerprint scanners, I put this right behind Touch ID, but without a doubt, it's incredible, to put it lightly. Now, I'm not really a power user when it comes to using a phone, because I average about a couple hours of screen on time from watching videos to just everyday usage, but I end up with about 50% of battery at the end of the day. But as I already stated, this is a best case scenario, so your results may vary. I decided to go with the 32GB edition of the Google Nexus 5X, which I somewhat regret, considering you can just upload all your photos to Google Photos with unlimited storage, but keep in mind the pictures are slightly compressed. I think I did this because of my old HTC One. I had maxed out the 32GB, but upon further consideration, it's not really necessary, so save yourself the $50 unless you have a ton of apps. When it comes down to pure bang for the buck, the Nexus 5X is great. For just $329, you can't go wrong. For my little time with the phone, it seems to be a great value simply from the software experience alone. Their flagship phones double the price, they can't even do certain tasks to the level of the 5X. This is just a side note, but when I went to pick up my Nano SIM card from my local Verizon store, the sales representatives were hesitant to give it to me because they weren't sure it was going to work on their network. This is another side note, but I was recently in Toronto, and I saw a bunch of advertisements for the Nexus 6P. Found that to be pretty awesome. So that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed my unboxing and first impressions of the Google Nexus 5X, so please stay tuned for my full review of the phone. So thanks for watching, and see ya!